Hey, what's up, guys? It's Apollo Uchiha here, back with a new movie. The name of this movie is What If Naruto Was Sage of Nature? And yeah, guys, it's an unscripted movie as well. Now, before continuing this movie, I would like to tell you guys I'm putting my series a little bit on hold. I will upload it, but later because you have been giving me a lot of recommendations for movies. So, yeah, I've been thinking of doing them because it's kind of interesting and I would love to make more movies, obviously, and you guys enjoy that, so yeah, why not? Tell me in the comments what do you think, and if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And without further ado, let's begin with our story. Our story begins at the third great shinobi war. It was at the end that we see Kushina Uzumaki, the second Jinchuriki, and the last loyal Uzumaki of Konoha was battling against hundreds of Iwa shinobi. She was all alone, her comrades had fallen. Some random jonins and chunins from Konoha. As she was gritting her teeth, she was already low on chakra, fighting 150 jonins or anbus before them. Damn it, I can't hold them on my own, as all of them were smirking after seeing the Red Death panting heavily. What? The mighty Red Death is now panting in front of us? She's out of her chakra. Now is our time to strike. She gritted her teeth and closed her eyes. I'm sorry, Minato. If this is the end, then I. But suddenly, in a bright yellow flash, a man appeared with blonde hair and blue eyes. His name was Minato Namikaze, a jonin of Konoha. As he then said, "You're not going anywhere. I will deal with them, Kushina. I'll be back in a flash," he said with a smile as he flashed through the 100 Iwa jonins as there were screams heard from all over the place. It was a massacre. After everyone died, the reinforcements from Konoha arrived. As they saw the retreating form of their enemies, they all cheered because they have won the war, and thanks to the efforts of both Kushina and Minato. As Kushina was on her knees now, her chakra already at the lowest of her bottom pits, her pool. As Minato stood in front of her, "Kushi-chan, are you okay?" As Kushina then looked up and dragged him down and kissed him on the lips, and which caused everyone else to giggle, and they cheered for both of them. As when both of them separated, both of them had a healthy blush on their faces. As Kushina said, "I'm fine now." Then Minato then said, "Kushina, after all this is over, would you marry me?" As Kushina's eyes widened, as tears started to well up, as she then dragged him and kissed him again on the lips, this time more lovingly. "Yes," she said, parting away from the kiss as she panted, as everyone cheered. Time skip. It has been 1 month since the war ended. Konoha had become victorious, as the Iwa, Kumo, and Kiri had fallen. Not badly, but they had lost the war to Suna and Konoha. As Konoha was cheering, as so was Suna in their own respective villages. Both Minato and Kushina were now getting married, as every one of their friends attended alongside Minato's student, Kakashi Harake. He was the only one left. He was sad as Minato patted him on his shoulder and told him that it was okay. As time went by, it was already 4 months after their marriage. Kushina was excited when she became pregnant, and when she went to visit for the doctors after 1 month or so to check how the baby was going, she was devastated to hear the news that due to Kyuubi's interference, she lost her fetus. And when Minato heard this, he cried and started to comfort Kushina as well. Then they decided to have another chance and try, as this time they thought that maybe with the help of their sensei and Tsunade. So they tried in their supervision. Once after requesting them to come back, they reluctantly agreed. And once again, Kushina was pregnant, and this time she failed again. After 10 days of known to be pregnant, as Tsunade was regularly checking her, Kyuubi attacked again and the fetus was dead. Kushina was now more devastated as she was sitting in front of Tsunade, who had a sad look on her face. As Jiraiya was also sad and had a solemn look, as Minato was crying silent tears behind his wife. As Kushina was thinking, "Kami, please help me, I just want a child. Is it too hard or too much to ask?" she thought to herself as she was sobbing in her hands. As then a bright light appeared in front of them. As walked out of that light was a man. He wore white silky robes and he had a wooden staff in his hand. His eyes were brown and his hair was black. He had a calming aura around him and non-threatening as well. As suddenly the nature all around them, mainly the wild, came around and started to gather around him. The birds, even the little bit of animals all gathered around him, even the ants as well. As everyone had a wide eye at this, as Jiraiya then got on alert mode as he asked, "How do you possess so much senjutsu in you? And who are you?" "I am nature itself, and I heard your plea. Why are you sad, child?" He said, looking towards Kushina. As everyone's eyes widened, as Minato then said, "How should we trust you?" As the nature chuckled, "Well, I don't think you would believe me if I either told you. So just tell me, I will try to help. I promise I won't harm you in any way. Plus, you will be helping me, or your child will." "How so?" Minato asked. "What do you want from our child?" "Nothing much, just so he could continue on with my duties." "What do you mean?" "You see, I will bless you with a child, or maybe two, but I am fading because of the war between the elemental nations. The nature is damaged, and it has damaged me, and I want to pass on my duties to someone else before I fade. And I have seen you two. You two are the purest of soul, and I can guess pretty much that if you two combined and made a baby, your baby will be the purest of them all, and I want him to have my titles. I have already talked to Kami-sama. You don't have to worry about it. She heard your prayers as well. That is why I am here. So tell me, child, would you let me help you?" As they all looked towards him and then back with each other, as they all nodded, as Kushina said, "We'll be happy to have been blessed by you, Nature-sama." As he chuckled softly, as he then put a hand, both of them, one on Kushina's forehead, slightly above, and same could be said for Minato, as there was a bright white light, as a calming and soothing energy both absorbed them. And suddenly Kushina could feel the QB, which was raging violently and laughing, became silent, peaceful. His hatred was gone for once, as he closed his eye and fell asleep. As after a few minutes or so, he said, "It is done. I will now return back. When the child is born, I will fade, and my duties will be passed down to him. What if there are more than one? As you have said Jiraiya, only one can possess the truest and purest of them all. That is what I will tell you. I will not reveal who it will be, because I know already. He has a great destiny ahead of him. Please surround him and shower him with love, because that is the only reason nature can survive. If he is enraged and poisoned, the nature will be poisoned as well. As everything is connected to nature, same could be said for chakra. You know what I'm trying to say." As everyone gulped, then and there, everyone decided that if only a child was born, or even 2 or 3, they didn't care. They will all treat them equally and with all love. That could be said for Jiraiya and Tsunade as well, because they felt the calming, soothing aura as well. As nature then bid his farewell and left. 9 months have been passed since then, and regular checkups for Tsunade concluded that there was no problem and the fetus grew healthily into babies. Yes, babies. There were 2. Both were brothers and boys. And they finally decided on the names. One was going to be Naruto and one was going to be Menma. And then the time came, the 11th of October, the day both of them will be born. As they were inside the hospital because the QB had been silent and unresponsive. As then the birthing process began. It was heavily guarded by both of the Sanis because both of them were present there alongside with none other than Minato himself, the Yellow Flash, so it will be foolish to attack. As the attacker, the masked man, just and gritted his teeth because his plan had fallen apart. He didn't contemplate that both of the Sanis will be in the village when he was planning to attack. And what was this? The seal was still strong. He couldn't Well, break the seal now. He had to retreat. Their plan had fallen. It didn't go as planned as they thought, as the masked man retreated into the shadows. As both of the boys were born without a threat, and the seal didn't break loose until Kushina was enveloped in orange chakra, which caused everyone to flinch as the Kyuubi's head materialized, as it growled at everyone. Its anger, hatred returned 10 times. You, why have you separated from me, from my sanctuary? As everyone was put on a halt after hearing this. What do you mean? I was connected to nature once again. I was peaceful, and you humans, pesky little humans, had to disconnect me from it again. As he looked towards both of the children, one had red hair and 3 whisker marks, while the other had faint whisker marks and blue eyes, deep blue eyes and blonde hair. As he then smiled at the child, which caused everyone to flinch. As Kushina then said, What are you doing to my child? Hush, Kushina. I want to pass on to this child. I want this child to become my 3rd Jinchuriki. And why should we do that? The seal is perfectly fine. Said Minato, you don't have to worry. I will not take over this child. This child is special after all. That's when it clicked. Naruto was the one that Nature-sama told, as then a bright light appeared above Naruto and engulfed him completely, reminiscing him. His blonde hair glowed a bit, his eyes became more pure. As Menma, who was crying after the wild chakra erupted, was now sleeping calmly, and everyone inside the room was now calm. And same could be said for Kyuubi, as he closed his eye. It has been done. Nature-sama has passed on his duties to the child, said Kurama. Are you sure? Do you not trust me, human? Well, it is hard to, said Minato. Believe what you want. I want to be with this child. Unless you want me to enrage even more. As everyone flinched at that. Fine, you can. But on one condition. What? What is your condition? Kurama narrowed his eyes, or Kyuubi, because they knew. You will have to protect Naruto and Menma at all costs. Don't worry. The child is my charge to protect. But I cannot take the guarantee for the other one. If my Jinchuriki, he wants to protect, then I will, because I will follow his will and no one else. As everyone nodded and smiled, fine, but what about Kushina? Don't worry, I will leave enough chakra to heal. Once she is fully healed and her coils are back to normal for a normal jonin, and then my chakra will completely dissipate and she will be normal human. Now she's pain because the seal, well, I'm breaking it because I want to be close to nature once again after hundreds of years of staying inside her stomach and the previous Jinchurikis. As all of them nodded, fine, we will give you this. As suddenly Anbu and the 3rd Hokage appeared, alongside with the clan heads. What is going on here, Minato? I thought you said the childbirth will be without a hitch, but what is going on? And why is Kyuubi? As they all paused after seeing the Kyuubi head looking towards them. Is it free? One of the Jonin asked. No, it's not. I want this child to become my Jinchuriki, that is all I ask. I will not harm him or this village, you have my word on it. Fine, I will place the seal on Naruto. You don't have to. He is nature itself now. I will just go in him and live with him. As the seal was opened by Kushina herself, go, but if you harm my child, you will face my wrath. I will never angry a woman, mainly a mother, because I know how dangerous it could be. As Kyuubi then went outside of Kushina's seal, a huge chakra mass appeared and went inside Naruto. As the baby giggled after that. And there was no seal, instead a fox mark that appeared on Naruto's navel. As everyone was surprised by this. The fox had 9 tails. It was a black mark on his navel. Time went by, and the birth of the 2 children was announced to everyone in Konoha, as Kushina was A-OK. Just like Kyuubi promised, she was now a normal Jonin, not a Jinchuriki anymore. And it was time for them to tell this to, well, the council. As they were now sitting in the council chamber, the civilian council was a little bit afraid because they didn't have much power because Minato was still here. And the same could be said for elders. As Koharu was, Minato-kun, yes, Koharu-sama, we want to ask, is it true that Kushina is not the Jinchuriki anymore? Yes, it is. Then what happened to Kyuubi? Danzo asked, cutting her in, as she glared at Danzo. Well, Kyuubi made a deal with us. He wants to stay with my son. He says, in his own quote-unquote words, that my son is his sanctuary. He felt peace with him. As everyone had wide eyes at that, even Danzo, how is this possible? Abiju just said that he feels peaceful and said sanctuary for a child. What does this mean? It means that, Kushina said, bursting through the door as she was carrying both of her babies. As then, she put Menma in Minato's arms as both baby and the Kushina was engulfed in red chakra, as everyone tensed, even the Anbus, as the Kyuubi had appeared again. That means that I will protect this child and this puny village that he lives in. I do not care for you, heed my words, human. I still hate all of you. But him, he is special. He is pure. And I feel peaceful. That is why I will not harm whatever he loves. That is why I will not harm you, because you live in the place that he calls home. As everyone flinched at that, the civilians were ready to piss their pants when the Kyuubi dispersed back into Naruto's navel. Is the seal not working? There is no seal. What? It was heard as a unison, as the Shinobi Council already knew about this, but still were afraid and cautious. You don't have to worry, as the Kyuubi said. Naruto is safe. Then tell us, why does Kyuubi feel secure? We have to tell them, right, Kushina? As Kushina smiled, and so they did look towards Jiraiya and Tsunade, who were also there. As both of them nodded, as they all turned towards the council, as Minato then said, it was due to nature itself. What? Nature-sama appeared in front of us. What stories are you making? Danzo said. It is not a story, Jiraiya said. We were all there, and we all saw and met him. It happened when Kushina lost her second fetus, after 10 days of becoming pregnant. After that, everyone became sad, as Kushina was sad as well, for her unborn child, both of them. As then, Jiraiya began, he blessed both Minato and Kushina with his powers, and blessed them with the children, as you can see. And not only that, he blessed one of the children with his own powers. He passed on his titles, his powers, and domains to him. Naruto over here is the new nature, and as you can see, he should be shrouded with love. Nature warned us. Why? Because if nature is poisoned, so is chakra and so is life. As everyone flinched at that, and Danzo frowned and cursed inwardly because now he knew he couldn't do anything to the child. He didn't want to lose chakra or poison it, because doing so will kill everyone, even themselves and their enemies. So what are we going to do? He's quite important. What if the other villages want him now? That will never happen, Jiraiya said. We will always be there. A team will be assigned to watch over my children, both of them. We will treat them equally. I will not have one of my sons suffer because of others' destiny. Both of them are precious to us. We finally got them in our life after losing two before. We know the significance of family because I never had one, he said as he looked towards Kushina, who lost her, and Kushina lost her, so she knew as well. Fine, Jiraiya then said, alongside of it, Hiruzen. Both of them nodded and smiled at each other. And then Hiruzen said, so, all in favor to keep this a secret from even our family members, as it will remain in council because it is for the best, now that nature and chakra itself is at stake. as everyone nodded and raised their hands, even the civilians. They know did know now that Naruto was special because nature and Kami herself has blessed Naruto, and they couldn't do anything about it. That is why QB felt safe, because it was a part of nature itself. Due to whenever a Biju dies, it reforms itself in nature during a period of years. That is why. Time skip. Naruto was 6 years old. He and his brother were playing. His brother was innocent as he was, but Menma was a little mischievous one. He always pranked others, while Naruto got him out of trouble and apologized to those who Menma pranked. Naruto sometimes laughed at his brother because of his, antics, but he helped him because he was the elder brother here. Nay, Naru, Nisan, why do you always apologize to them? They are just big jerks who look down upon us. And I just pranked them because they deserve it. No, Menma, we have to be respectful for our elders. That is the way. And we have to be polite. And if we make a mistake, we have to apologize. Remember that. You're no fun, when Naruni. As then Kushina came from behind. Nay, I heard from Choco-san that you pranked her by painting her house with a paint bomb. As both of the children flinched as Naruto stepped forward. I'm sorry, mother, I won't do it again. No, Naruto. It's time for Menma to face his own mistakes. It's time for him to man up and apologize. Now, what are you going to do, son? As Menma flinched, and Naruto had a frown on his face as he put a hand on his brother's back and patted him. It's okay, nothing bad will happen. As Menma then said, I'm sorry, Miss Choco, it won't happen again. Fine. If it wasn't for Naruto, I will have put charges on you because you have pranked me for the 30th time, young man. Even though it is harmless, I still have to clean a lot of stuff because of that prank, and it crosses the line. And please, Naruto, help him to keep in line with your mother. I will try my best, Choco-san. I promise. As then she left, and Naruto sighed. Brother, you have too much tendency to get in trouble. Please refrain from doing so in the future. Naruto was the genius one, the prodigy. Studied hard, but he had only one flaw. He never killed. Not even harming the dummies. He always subdued them with taijutsu. His parents were quite worried about his future because if he was to become a shinobi, then his chances of dying in the battleground might increase significantly because he didn't want to use any shurikens. He just wanted to fight with his fist. And he called this part not fighting because he was against it, because as it was against nature itself. Naruto could gather senjutsu within his body, as his senjutsu was different. He didn't need to rely on any of the summons and need to learn. He just closed his eyes, relaxed his body, and focused, and gathered energy channeling through him. His eyes were engulfed by black pigments all over, black markings, and that traveled down both of his cheekbones and his forehead. Like Tsunade's, 100 healing marks, it coursed through his body as a whole, engulfing him. As Naruto opened his eyes were green, not blue anymore. Naruto then moved forward, as Jiraiya was already in his Sage mode, as so could be said for Minato. Let's see, Gaki, what your Sage mode is capable of. But Naruto vanished, appearing besides both of them, who were standing at the same time, as their eyes widened. Even the yellow flash couldn't see them, as Naruto smashed his each fist into their guts. Air was sucked out of their lungs. Their Sage mode interrupted, as both of them fell back, as Naruto was standing in front of them, with worried expression. Are you two alright? Yeah, just a little hurt, that's all. Damn, Gaki, you pack a punch, Jiraiya said, cutting Minato off. Wow, that Sage mode is powerful. No wonder you don't need to rely on the summons. But I still need to figure out, how is this possible? Do you think Fukusaka-sama will help us, Sensei? I'll try. As Jiraiya reluctantly got up, as Naruto started to put his hands on both of their guts, and a green aura erupted from both of his hands, healing them instantly. Their eyes widened. Naruto, can you use healing jutsu? I don't know. I just thought that I should help you, and then I sensed someone to whisper in my ear, heal, and I said so, and you healed, as their eyes widened. As Tsunade then stepped out from where she was sitting and went towards them. Are you okay? As Kushina then said, Naruto, you use way too much power, you should be careful. I'm sorry, mother. It's okay, she said, hugging him. Are you okay, Minato? Pervert. Oh, come on, don't tell your children my name. Well, you are a pervert. Until you stop writing those monstrosity, I will not stop calling you a pervert, said Kushina, as Jiraiya scrambled as Tsunade chuckled alongside Minato. What is a pervert, Mom? Naruto asked, as almost all of the eyes fell towards Kushina with a smirk on them. Well, son, it's a bad person like Jiraiya, but Ji-chan is a good person. He always trains us and tells us that we should always, work hard to achieve peace. He's not that bad. As Kushina was now in a pinch. Well, I'll tell you when you grow up. How about that, ne? Okay. As then Menma appeared, rushing towards them with a paint bucket in his hands and covered in a little bit of paint. He was smiling merrily as Anbus with pink gear, which surprised almost everyone, were chasing him. Get that kid back! Menma now regained with the title with Prankster from Hell. Why? Well, he wore an orange monstrosity and was always chased around by Anbu. And today he pranked Anbu by painting each and every one of their shinobi gears with color pink and sparkles on it. They were like Barbie dolls now, and they were mad at this. They were supposed to be stealthy, and now they were open target because of the sparkles. As Minato stopped them, as Menma was panting behind a tree as Naruto rushed towards him with rolled eyes. What is going on? Well, as you can see, Hokage-sama, your son pranked us again. As Minato groaned, I apologize. How much for the damages? Luckily nothing was damaged, but please, Hokage-sama, just try to, teach him that he shouldn't prank Anbu or paint our clothes at least, because it is essential for us to keep stealthily. Now we are open targets. We can't move around stealthily anymore. Even the normal civilians can see us from afar because of the glitter. As they all bowed and left, as Minato let out some chuckles as Kushina was rolling on the ground laughing after seeing Anbus like that. Damn, my son is such a prankster. He even beated my own prank streak. He's been on it for 6 months now? Yes, Kushina, you went on a streak for 4 months and 35 days. 35 days, we all know, but he has gone far enough. It is time for him to stop this. Yes, you're right. But you had to admit it was funny though, as they all chuckled at that. As they all went where Naruto and Menma was, as they stopped and heard what they were talking. Oh, come on, Naruni, you're no fun. Menma, for the last time, please stop doing this. You will get yourself hurt or in trouble. And now that Anbu doesn't like you anymore, they might not even want to recruit you in the future. What will happen if you didn't become Hokage as you proclaim every now and then? But as Menma's eyes widened and then narrowed, hey, I will become Hokage and a cool one at that, you know. Yes, you will, but you have to stop this pranking streak and work hard with your training and reading. As he had a scowl on his face, as he was about to puke, as it seemed. Yuck, reading is so yucky, I don't want to read. Well, you have to if you want to become a strong shinobi, Menma. What about you? You don't like to, throw knives. It's so awesome. I will slay down my enemies and monsters and become the coolest Hokage, as Naruto frowned. Well, I don't slay because I hold life precious, even if it is of those who make others suffer. Life in general is precious to me. I don't know why, but I just feel like it. I don't want to hurt them. But I will subdue those who try to hurt with my own fist of fury, he said, his childlessness returning, as both Menma and Naruto chuckled. As behind the tree where the elders were standing, they were surprised by this. After hearing Naruto's words, as they smiled, as Jiraiya said, Tagaki is going to go far ahead. Maybe he will be the one to achieve peace. We all wish. Maybe both of them will, Tsunade said, as both Jiraiya and Tsunade nodded. Hey Minato, Kushina, Tsunade said, I wanted to ask you something. I heard Naruto's hands glow green. Yes, he used healing jutsu. Did you know Kushina about this? Could he use healing jutsu before? No, it is the first time. Did he really? Both of the females turned towards the male as both of them nodded. Tsunade then smiled. Could you please honor me with him being my apprentice, aside from being my godson? As almost all of them had wide eyes, Tsunade had promised to never take an apprentice after Shizune. But here they were, as Tsunade was now interested in Naruto even more. Fine, you can have him. As Jiraiya said, but I wanted to make him a Toad Sage. Because of his senjutsu, he's more stronger than the Toads. He will make an awesome summoner for them. Tough luck. You can take Menma though. As Minato agreed, yes. My son's trained by both of the Sanins, and Naruto has an healing affinity sensei, so Tsunade-sama can train him to become the best medic. Even so. As Jiraiya then grumbled and said, fine, I'll take Menma. But the Gaki is just too much of a prankster. As then, Menma came out. Oi! Erosanin, what did you call me? I called you a brat. What are you going to do about it? And then he formed hand seals and performed Oriki no Jutsu. As there stood a red-haired, dark-whiskered, purple-dyed beauty covered with smokes, covering its, sensitive areas, as both Minato and Jiraiya were knocked out, with blood geysers coming out of their nose. As both of the females twitched at that, and Naruto just covered his eyes. As Menma reverted back and rolled on the ground laughing, as Kushina stomped towards Menma, her hair flowing dangerously, and her eyes circle white, her half-face darkened. She was stomping and the ground broke. The Red Death has awoken, yet again, with fury and rage. As Menma stopped and Naruto's eyes paled as he covered, sorry brother, I cannot help you with this. As Menma looked towards him, traitor! He yelled, as Menma was spanked hard. After that spanking, he laid on the grass with ice cube bag on his ass. As he looked towards Naruto with a pout, no fun. I just wanted to have some fun and just, beat him is his own game, and you have to ruin it. You could have helped me, Nissan. I don't want to face mother when she's angry. She's pretty scary. As both of the boys shuddered. As Tsunade and Kushina were talking happily after beating down both of the boys who were dealing in front of them. As they still scolded and laughed together at their, idiocy in front of their own godson and child. Time skip. It was time for the children to enter the academy. Naruto still had lessons with Tsunade after becoming her apprentice, and Menma still, trained with Jiraiya after their, learning that Menma was Jiraiya's apprentice. Both parents were happy and close as ever, and they decided to have another child. It was a daughter this time. She was about to be born when Naruto passed his first year of academy alongside Menma, and after a year, their sister was born. Her name was Narumi. She had half red and half blonde hair. One of her eyes was violet and the other one was blue. She didn't have any whisker mark, and she was a beautiful baby. Naruto carried her. She smiled and was peaceful and always giggled and tried to pull his hair, because Naruto thought that it will be nice to grow his hair out. His hair was already shoulder length, which covered his forehead even more. As Naruto scrunched his eyes as the baby pulled his hair. Ow, ita! Tell Narumi-chan, please can you stop pulling your Nissan's hair? It hurts. As the baby giggled and pulled harder as Naruto chuckled. As both of the adults watched with love in their eyes the interaction between their children. As Menma arrived. Your awesome brother, Menma has arrived, Narumi. Hey Menma, Naruto ni, can I have Narumi? Here, hold her carefully. She's fragile now, Naruto said calmly, as Menma just grinned with a foxy-like grin as he picked her up. As he then rocked her hard as she started to cry, which caused everyone to be surprised as Kushina picked Narumi up from him, as Menma just pouted. Hey, she's no fun. Why did she start to cry when I hold her? Naruto-Nisan was holding her and she didn't cry. She was laughing and giggling and stuff. As Naruto then deadpanned and said, really? You're going to be pouting just because of that? She's just a kid. You You are just an over-exaggerating baby, Menma sometimes, Naruto said, as the adults chuckled at this, as Menma and Naruto started to bicker with each other. And at the end, the whole family laughed. Time skip. It was already the graduation time for the Genins. Naruto was, tied with Sasuke Uchiha, his, best friend. At the time, at the top, the Uchiha massacre never occurred because, we are going to have a flashback here to explain this. Time skip. 3 years ago, the Uchihas were planning a coup d'etat, and Minato got the wind of it, and he went there because Fugaku was his friend and comrade. And not only him, but his whole family went there for a dinner. Fugaku agreed because it was Hokage, as they all were sitting in the main family hall, as Itachi, Sasuke were sitting there as well, alongside with Mikoto and Fugaku, as the atmosphere was intense as Naruto and Sasuke began to talk with each other. And Sasuke was, boasting that he could use fireball jutsu. Naruto was, pleased with this and was quite surprised and has stars somewhat in his eyes. So could be said for Menma, but they never got along with each other, surprisingly, as Naruto then said, "Hey Sasuke, would you want me to show your awesome jutsu that you talked about?" Sure, why not, Naruto? Come, follow me outside. As Itachi then said, "I'll be looking after them." "Excuse me, Hokage-sama, Kushina-sama, father, mother," as he bowed and left the table. As the elders started to talk, mainly Mikoto spoke. "He's such a sweetheart, Kushina. You truly are blessed with a sweet child. Both of them are sweet." "One is mischievous though," Fugaku said, "because he pranked our, compound a lot alongside the rest of the village." "I apologize for him," Minato said, rubbing the back of his head and nervously laughing. "So, why are you here, Minato? It has to be a reason." As Minato got serious, "Fugaku, I have heard the news that you and the Uchihas are planning a coup." "And what if we are?" Fugaku said. "Please, Fugaku, I, on behalf of the village, apologize." "No, it's not you, it's the village. Because they have just started to ostracize us because we, the Uchihas, are arrogant, as they thought. I do know that some of us are arrogant, but not all of us. As you can see, it is enraging us, as they just think of us as their line of defense and nothing else. The people don't respect our clan anymore, Minato. They just think of us as a lowly clan who will betray them like our ancestor Madara. They are filled with hatred towards us, even though we protect them." As Minato then said, "I apologize, I know. Why are you going to apologize, Minato? It's not your fault." "But this is our village. This is our home, Fugaku. We promised to protect it. How can you do this? Don't you get it? My family comes first. What will you do if you were in my shoes?" "Same," Minato said, as Fugaku's and Mikoto's eyes widened. "I know how you feel. But please, can I have an audience with the, Uchiha Council? I just want to get things straight back to the line, as they were before. But this time, I will, try to include the Uchihas as much as possible. We might come to an agreement. If so, then I want to, because I don't want to lose some comrades. And a founding clan. Our history depends and includes you as well, as a respective clan's member of the village. Why? Because you were the one, and your clan was the one, who contributed in making this village. You are important to us, and to me." As Fugaku then sighed, "Fine," as Mikoto smiled at that, and so did Kushina, as both of them went for the Uchiha Council. As the children played outside, as Naruto and Sasuke smiled and laughed. Whenever Menma, tried to boast his skill, Naruto just chuckled and Sasuke just scowled because he didn't like Menma for some reason. But as for Naruto, he liked him. Itachi also liked Naruto and Menma even though, but he liked Naruto more. Almost all of the Uchihas preferred Naruto over Menma any day because Menma was a mischievous prankster and a brat in their eyes. But Naruto, he was calm and had an aura of peacefulness around him. They liked the kid, even the Anbus. Wherever he went, it was peaceful and calm. They all knew that now that the QB resided inside of him, but were surprised that whenever some of the spies who heard the news that the fourth Hokage had children tried to attack Naruto after seeing his blonde hair and blue eyes, well, a red chakra erupted from his body and protected him, and almost quashed the assaulter to death, but it never worked. Naruto stopped him after he lost his consciousness, and the unmoved would appear and carry the unconscious shinobi. People were afraid for this, but were always surprised by seeing that Naruto could control the QB. At least that's what they thought. But in truth was that Naruto and QB were friends, much like best friends. Why? Because Naruto always talked to QB. It appeared inside Naruto's mindscape when he was 2 years old, and from then on, Naruto and QB talked with each other and became best friends. Naruto in his mindscape will always lay on QB's head, and both of them will converse with each other. And sometimes Naruto will make QB laugh, and QB will sometimes make Naruto laugh. That was their relationship. As on the other side, Minato was having a meeting with the Uchihas, and after a lot of insults thrown at Minato just kept on apologizing and saying that in the future he will try to bring Uchiha in a new light and people will change. He promised them. And they came to an agreement. They stopped the coup d'etat for now. Why? Because they gave Minato a chance, all of them. Because they didn't want to start a war and they liked Naruto. And that was the only reason they agreed. Because Minato and his family were close to Uchihas. They all respected the whole Uchiha clan with respect, as they should deserve from the whole village. And once again, Minato and Fugaku, alongside with the whole Uchiha clan, worked hard for years to come until the academy started. Why? With Sasuke and Naruto. Why? Because they wanted to improve the Uchiha images and help them build good relation with other clans. The Uchiha had to swallow their pridefulness, half of it at least. They still had some of them at least stuck in their ass, but they weren't that bad. They got good relationship with the Hyugas. They lost their feud, and the other clans as well. The civilians started to respect them as well now. The Uchihas were now much closer than inside the village than their previous compound, which was far away. The new compound was built, and the previous compound was cleared out, and the civilians' houses were given to them there. A shopping district opened. It was quite peaceful now. The Uchihas were happy, the village was happy, and the Genins were about to pass. End of the flashback. After that incident, Sasuke and Naruto were now inseparable. Why? Sasuke always visited Naruto. He didn't bother with making any other friends. He had Naruto, and that's all he wanted in his eyes. Why? Because he was his best friend. He always listened to Sasuke and his, bickering whenever he had a feud with his brother or his father. Then Naruto always consulted him with a nice advice. That is all he needed. As they were talking to each other, Iruka came in. Well, class, I am proud to say that you all passed the test. But you have to perform the 3 jutsu tests to pass and become the Genin and future shinobi of Konoha. I have been proud to become your teacher, and now I will be proud to become your sensei. She said with a smile as all of them chuckled. As one by one each of the students were called, and they all passed. Menma also passed, but he was still the dead last. Joining him was Kiba nonetheless. Naruto was popular with the whole class alongside with Sasuke. He had fangirls as well. He only had eyes for one girl though. Her name was Ino. Why? Well, she had beautiful platinum blonde hair and teal green eyes, and wore purple, which Naruto thought looked good on her. She was cheeky and full of life. Naruto felt attracted towards her. And at the end, he, steeled his nerves. He was going to confess his love to her now that he graduated and became an adult in the eyes of, his village and himself. You sure, Gaki, this is a good idea? I mean, what if she doesn't return your feelings? I don't know, Kurama, but I have to tell her. I mean, I have a crush on her and I like her. Well, Sasuke avoided Sakura, obviously because Sakura was his fangirl. And he was surprised that Naruto liked Ino, who was his fangirl, obviously, mainly Sasuke's fangirl. But he was surprised and didn't wanted his friend to be hurt. Why? Because Ino proclaimed that she liked Sasuke and will devote her love for him, which caused him to frown because he see Naruto's hurt eyes. Naruto wasn't jealous of Sasuke, but he'll be thinking wrong if he wasn't little jealous and hopeful that Ino will accept. As at the end of the class and after performing the jutsu, the whole class passed, as they were greeted by their families for their graduation and were applied for. As Naruto then moved towards Yamanaka family. Hello, Yamanaka-san. Hello, Ino-chan. As Inoichi said, "Hello, young man. How are you doing?" "I'm doing good, sir." "Hey, Naruto," Ino said. "So, what do you want anything?" she asked. "Yes, Ino, can I talk to you for a moment? In private?" As both of the parents perked up at that. As then, Inoichi's wife said, "Hey, Inoichi-kun, do you think that that boy over there is going to confess?" As Inoichi then said, "Well, much as I hate it to be, well, I think he is. And if my daughter accepts, I think she's making the right choice." "Do you believe it?" "Yes, the boy is good for her. Actually, too good." "How so? You always treat Ino like princess, but why do you think that boy is too good for her?" "Well, you don't know about him. But once he hopefully become my son-in-law and visits us, you will know him, and you know what I was talking about, honey." As she just humphed and walked away, as Inuichi started to, please her and say he was sorry for his words, as both Ino and Naruto were standing under the tree where the swing was. "Well, what is it, Naruto?" "Ino-chan, I wanted to say that I held this for the longest of times. From the moment I saw you, I had an attraction towards you," Naruto said with stutters in his words, and his face full blushed red, as Ino had a little bit of blush on her cheeks as well. As Naruto then said, "So, what are you saying, Naruto? I love you. Will you go out with me?" After hearing these words, Naruto looked towards Ino's face, her eyes widened, and her blush came full force, as she then said nothing and moved forward and hugged him, as both of them rolled down on the ground, and Ino smashed her lips onto Naruto, which caused him to blush even more, as almost all of the, people there alongside the children stopped and looked towards both of them. Menma's jaw hung low as Minato and Kushina's eyes widened, alongside with Inoichi and his wife, as they saw their daughter was the first one to make move. After the kiss ended, courtesy to Ino, it was a French kiss. Naruto was a blushing mess. But you told me that you liked Sasuke." "Silly, I liked you, and I wanted to make you jealous, and I think it worked." "Eh? Why did you proclaim your love for Sasuke?" "Obviously to tease you, duh. You had the cutest of reaction whenever I said that. And not only that, I never liked that, arrogant prick. Why? Because Sakura liked him, and she's my best friend. I just became her rival and told her after, seeing your reaction before starting to tease you that I liked you. And I only teased you for this." "You mean Sakura-chan knew about this?" As Sakura came forward, laughing. "Yes, dummy, I knew. It was honestly kind of funny watching you, squirm after Ino proclaimed her love for Sasuke." As Sasuke then moved forward, he was mad. His friend was toyed with. The same could be said for Menma. He was mad as well. And both of them yelled at the girls, "How could you?" As both of the girls were quite surprised. "You played with his heart?" As Naruto was crying, as both of the girls felt bad. As Naruto stood up, "It's okay, it's fine. I'm just happy that Ino-chan accepted my confession." As Inuichi moved forward, "Not so fast, young man. Well, I'm happy that she chose you, but you have to prove that you are worthy to become my son-in-law." As Naruto then said, Yes, sir. What will I have to do? Naruto said with determination in his eyes. As Inuichi then chuckled. Nothing. You passed my test. I can see already the determination and love in your eyes, young man. But believe me when I say this. Break her heart and you will pay. I will never do that. I'd rather die than do that. As both of his parents were proud at him. As Kushina was squealing like a fangirl and rushed towards Naruto and glomped him alongside Mino. My little baby boy is becoming an adult and has a girlfriend of his own. As she squealed, as Minato just gave Naruto a thumbs up. Good job, son. As both of the parents moved towards Inu, as she was blushing madly. I'm sorry for what I did, but I kind of got a cute reaction out of him. You will believe me once you see. I already know. I tease him a lot in the home, so I always get a cute reaction out of him. I know what you're talking about. As then, Tsunade appeared. Congratulations, Naruto. Now you can officially be my student and my apprentice. She said in front of almost everyone, as almost everyone was surprised after hearing her words. Are you serious, Tsunade-sama? Asked Inuichi. Yes. He has a king for healing ninjutsu. He can heal the series of the wounds. As she took out a kuni and stabbed herself as Naruto flinched. Bachan, what are you doing? As Naruto hand covered the wound because it was very deep, as everyone could see. As Tsunade clenched her eyes because of the wound that she inflicted on herself, just to show her apprentice skills. As Naruto healed the wound instantly without any stitching needed. As almost everyone guessed, such strong healing ability at such a young age. He will become a powerful healer in the future. As almost everyone nodded, as Ino squealed at that. I also want to become your apprentice, Tsunade-sama, Ino said. Tsunade grew an eyebrow. What? Are you sure, little girl? Because it will be hard. I will. And plus, I will get to spend some time with my boyfriend. As Tsunade was taken aback by the boyfriend, as she looked towards Naruto, who was blushing, as she then started to chuckle. Well, welcome to the family, Gaki. And I will not go easy on you, she said, as Inuichi was now squirming mess and sweating bullets. No introductions or, pleasantries required, Inuichi. I already know who you are. Yamanaka clan head and she's your daughter. Don't worry, I will go rough on her. As Inuichi then said, please go easy on her. If you want your daughter to become strong shinobi, who won't die on the battlefield, she has to go through this harsh training, Inuichi, she said in all seriousness. As the cheerful aura disappeared, appeared the serious one. As almost everyone nodded. As then, the Toad Sage appeared and did his, disgusting toad dance that he did. Kind of weird, as Menma was embarrassed as Naruto chuckled alongside with Minato, as Kushina and Bosuna stomped towards him and bonked his head and dragged him there. As Jiraiya got out of his stupid head and said, well, Menma, let's go on a 5-year training trip. As almost everyone looked towards him as he grew a second hand. What? You are taking my son on a 5-year training trip. If you turn him into a pervert, I will beat you down, Jiraiya. Hi, Kushina. You better not turn my godson into a pervert, Jiraiya, or else you will be missing your precious sword. As almost every male flinched and covered their precious sword with their hands, while shaking their legs. Hi, Hime. As he then grinned towards Menma, as both of them got home and Menma started to pack his bags. Naruto was sad that his brother had to leave. And after saying goodbye to his friends, which were Shikaku Nara's son, Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamichi, Joza Akamichi's son, and Sasuke Uchiha, Fugaku Uchiha's son. And his big brother Itachi Uchiha, who was there to bring him back because Fugaku was busy dealing with the Uchiha police force, or better known as Konoha's Uchiha police force. Why? Because other shinobis was also recruited in it now, instead of only Uchihas being there. And after saying goodbye to them and everyone else and his senseis, he came home and bid goodbye to his brother. You know, Menma, I will miss you here. As Menma didn't turn, as Naruto became worried and moved forward and put a hand on his shoulder, and what he saw caused his eyes to be widened, and then a small, loving smile appeared. It's alright, Menma. You can openly cry. I don't wanna go. I wanna stay with all of you. But I have to, if I have to become a strong shinobi. Aren't I? I don't have a choice, right? Well, you have a choice. But I will not suggest it because you want to become strong Hokage, don't you? Or do you want your title to be gone on to Sasuke because he's quite strong? And frankly, you didn't study hard, brother, and unfortunately was a dead lost. If you want to become Hokage, you have to become strong. Stronger than him. Stronger than Tochan, and Kachan, and Jisan as well. You mean Erasanin? You should be respectful towards your elders. Nah, never. You're obviously the respectful one here. I'm the cheerful one, remember? As both of the brothers chuckled, as after a tearful goodbye to his family, he left with Jiraiya, as Naruto started his training with Tsunade. The other teams were well placed there, as in canon, but the only difference was that Naruto was replaced by Sai. And Menma was the odd one out. The other teams were as in canon, and were under their canon sensei. Naruto was apprenticed by Tsunade, and Ino, whenever she wasn't on the mission, was, well, being trained by Tsunade as well, in healing ninjutsu and other stuff. Naruto was also training with her 100 healing marks technique, and Ino as well. Naruto was far ahead of her though, but always helped his girlfriend whenever needed. Time went by and Ino and Naruto went on a lot of dates as well. And finally, time came for Chunin exams. He was surprised to see his best friend team got into a pinch but were able to defeat the enemies. Their C rank mission was turned into an A rank. Naruto got his own when Sasuke arrived. He was tired, but Naruto healed him and his wounds that were inflicted on him. He also met with Sakura, who was there, and helped his brother Kakashi, who I smiled at him. "So Naruto," he said while Naruto was healing him, "how's your training going?" "Well, Kakashi-ni, it's going well. I just hope Menma will return soon home and will be safe." "Yes, I am sure he will be because Jiraiya-sama's with him." "I don't know, but it quite worries me because of my Jisan tendencies. I don't want my brother to, well, follow his footsteps on that one." As almost Kakashi chuckled at that. "Well, let's just hope he doesn't. But as much as he's dense, I don't think he will." "You're right about that, Nissan. You're right about that." As Naruto became the #1 medic in the hospital, whenever an shinobi was injured, he will, well, come to him instead of going towards Tsunade-sama. Whatever he couldn't heal, well, will be healed by Tsunade. But that was only now one or twice happening in a month. A shinobi became that bad, but other than that, he will heal anyone. He was quite popular already, become known as the second coming of the, well, medic of Konoha. He was already next in line after Tsunade to become the medic head of hospital, which was quite prideful for, well, both of his parents. He will attend the meeting as well now because, well, Tsunade was the leader of the hospital, so she will push on her duties to Naruto just to drink her sake. Naruto just decided but followed through because it will be helpful in the future. And while this was going on, he will also go towards nature just to spend his time. Why? Because he felt attracted to it. And he will feel calm there, as if his energy was regenerating there, whatever he's lost. His all sorrow, sadness, and his stress was lost there. He finally became peaceful and won, as whenever he opened his eyes after his meditation, of which consisted of 2 or 3 hours each day, huge pile of animals will be on his lap, heads and shoulder. Naruto will just chuckle, as after some time of stroking them, they all will go back, as Naruto will wake up and walk back home. As unknown to him, Danzo's Rutan was watching him all the time, and were quite surprised how connected he was to nature. They will always report back to Danzo, and Danzo, well, quite sad that he couldn't control Naruto, was happy that the village was becoming strong. The chakra in there was becoming strong. Even the weakest of the Genins now had enough chakra to, well, use C-rank jutsu on their first try with success because of Naruto's presence there. And not only that, the chakra around the air, around whole elemental nation was stronger, but Konoha was the strongest. Time finally came for the Chunin exams, and everything was going well, and every preparation was going on. As Naruto was walking inside the village, until he heard a scream of a child he knew all too well, Konohamaru. He met him when he was visiting Third Hokage in his house because he was having a pain in his stomach after eating a, expired can of beans. God knows why he ate it, but he ate it. He said he didn't knew that it was expired. Anyways, he healed him, and then Konohamaru tried to attack his grandfather, which Naruto, was quite surprised that he fell on his own scarf, and then tried to boast him as in canon, but Naruto just chuckled and ruffled his hair. And his grandfather told him who he was. After that, he started to follow Naruto and tell him that he was his boss. Naruto told him that he would like to prefer being called brother. And that is what Konohamaru do alongside with his gang, Udon and Mogi. Naruto trained them whenever he had free time in simple ninjutsu tricks and simple taijutsu as well, which caused the children to be happy. And that was his life until now, as he shook his head to get out of his stupor of how he met Konohamaru as he walked towards the cries of the child, as he saw a child with weird paint on his face and black clothing and cat-like face, and a girl with sand blonde hair similar to that of his Ino-chan was standing there. As Naruto said, excuse me, can you put the child down? Huh? Kankuro said as he turned around. Why should I? As then, his brother Gaara's voice came, Kankuro, as both of the siblings flinched. Put the child down. As both of them looked towards Gaara with surprise. Why, Gaara? He's the one. I said put the damn child down. Gaara said with more rage, which caused both of them to shiver in fear. Gaara was never this mad. He was always calm, deadly calm. As Naruto quirked an eyebrow and looked towards him as Kyuubi spoke, or Kurama spoke. Naruto, what is it, Kurama? The child. He's a Jinchuriki. I can sense Shikaku within him, the one-tailed raccoon. As Naruto then said, I see. As Gaara appeared in front of Naruto, who are you? He yells with a calm voice. Mother says she feels at peace. She feels calm. And I feel tired because I want to sleep. Can I stay with you because I want to sleep? It's been 6 months because I didn't get a wink of sleep. Naruto then had wide eyes. Sure. As Konohamaru thanked and ran away. As Naruto, brought Gaara and his siblings to his home and inside his room as Gaara laid on his bed and fell asleep. As both of his siblings looked towards him with surprise. As both of them sat on chairs in Naruto's room, as Naruto then said, bringing some juice and biscuits from downstairs. Here, it's the all I can offer right now, so you can enjoy. As both of the siblings dug in and enjoyed. As Temari said, who are you? My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. As their eyes widened, you're the son of the yellow flash and red dad? Yes, but they have names. Their name is Minato Namikaze and Kushino Uzumaki. We know, Temari said. As she looked towards the cheerful blonde. She had a small blush on her face, but that didn't bother her that much. She just felt quite surprised that Gaara was sleeping and Shikaku wasn't waking up. Oh, don't worry. Shikaku won't wake up. He's asleep as well. As then both of them asked, how do you know he's the Jinchuriki? Well, Naruto's body started to glow red as her eyes widened as a fox face appeared. The Nine Tails. You're Jinchuriki? No. I'm the guardian of Naruto, Ningen. As then Shikaku woke up after sensing his brother's chakra. Without bothering Gaara, a sand-like chakra erupted from Gaara's body as Shikaku's face was made. Baka Fox, why are you inside that child? And why do I feel peaceful around him? As the fox chakra moved towards the Tanuki's ear and whispered something. As both of the children who were sitting there were quite surprised by this. As Tanuki's eyes widened and looked towards Naruto. I see. As to their horror, the Tanuki smiled. But it wasn't malicious, so Naruto chuckled. Hello, Shikaku-san. It's good to meet you. Same here, Gaki. Well, it's good to know that you in Konoha have such calming nature, and I was surprised when I visited, because the last time I visited, it wasn't like this. And then my brother told me who you are. Trust me when I say this. The secret's safe with me. Whenever I get out, I'll just wake him up. As Naruto then frowned and said, please let him sleep. I request, please. Whatever they did, I apologize on their behalf, but please let him sleep. He looks so sleep deprived. And don't try to corrupt him. Just become friends with him if you can. It's hard, Gaki. It's really hard. After what happened to us. But because you're just saying so nicely to awesome old me, the mighty me will try. That is all I ask, Shikaku-sama, he said with a wholehearted laugh as Shikaku chuckled as well at that. You know, Gaki, I like you. A lot more. Thank you, Naruto said, taking it as a compliment. Fine, I will try my best. As the siblings looked towards Naruto in shock as he was calmly talking to Shikaku itself, the pain of their village, the one who destroyed them the most, just agreed to this child's words. And what did he mean? His secret was safe with him. What's so special about him? As then Shikaku said, looking towards them, I am going to tell him what you're planning. I'm not going to let you destroy or corrupt this nature. It is peaceful, even for me. As their eyes widened. Plus, that Kazekage of yours, it's not who he sees. Be wary of him. His chakra, it's corrupting. Very corrupting indeed. I fear that he's leading you in a path of destruction, said Shikaku to them. As the siblings' eyes widened. You can't be serious. Are you trying to test my patience? See? Gaki, he turns towards Naruto. What I'm trying to say, this is how we're treated. As Naruto looked towards them with frown on his face. Please treat them respectfully. They are sentient beings with feelings and, well, have their own mind and heart. You cannot just label them as mindless powerhouses because they have their own lives. They have been living with us for thousands of years. At least that's what Ninetales told me. He didn't want it to tell the name to them as Kurama smiled at that because he respected Naruto respected his wishes. Ashikaku then smiled at that as well. Well, Gaki, it was a pleasure meeting you. If there are any other Jinchurikis, well, I know that Baka Fox here will inform you. Oi, Tanuki, wanna go? Yeah, Baka Fox, wanna go as well? Please calm down, stop fighting, you two. You're like, well, Menma. As Kurama growled, don't lump me with that Flashback because he's disgusting. He is my brother. Even though he is, I'm quite surprised he is not one bit like you. He's complete opposite. He pranks people, he gets into trouble, he doesn't respect anything. They even labeled us as, well, plush buns. What? Shikaku said, yes. He said we are big gold plushies and with chakra in them, nothing else. And he even called us cute, as Shikaku had a horrid look on his face. Where is he? Well, he's outside the village. Gaki, if I encountered him, he's going down. Please don't. He's my brother, and I don't want to hear from my parents about this. Plus, I think they sensed your power as they're rushing upwards. And true to their words, both Minato and Kushina rushed inside, and were surprised to see Naruto there, just chatting away with the Bijus. What is going on here, Naruto? And who are these people? And what is the One-Tailed doing? As he said, hello. Hello? Minato said, and Kushina waved awkwardly. I was just talking with a Gaki over here. He's quite, well, peaceful and quite a good listener, if I say so myself. Well, Gaki, it's good been talking to you. I hope we meet soon. And I will try my best to become friends with him. As Gaara was now waking up, as Shikaku was the one who went inside and woke him up, as he said, with a groan. What is going on? As he looked towards Naruto and said, thank you for letting me sleep. It's okay. What are friends for? Naruto said, as Gaara's eyes were. You want to be my friend? Why wouldn't I be? I already became friends with your mother, so isn't it obvious that I became friends with you, Gaara? I mean, you are my age, after all. As Gaara just smiled. A normal smile, not a freaky, murderous smile, as both of his siblings rushed towards him and engulfed him in a hug. Gaara, you're back! As Gaara looked towards them with surprise. See, your siblings missed you, Gaara. You don't have to do anything. See, I don't have to prove my existence. Yes, you already exist within our hearts. You have proven to us that you exist. Isn't that enough? As he chuckled and smiled. Yes, Naruto, that is enough. Hey, how come you know my name? I didn't even told them. Mother told me your name was Naruto. I see. It's good to know. As they all smiled, as Minato and Kushina were quite afraid, and Naruto explained to them that how things went. And after that, tuning exam went without a hitch, and Orochimaru was discovered already, and the people were prepared. The cannons were placed with seals on them. If Orochimaru ever tried to place the curse mark seal, well, courtesy of Minato and Kushina, they were able to remove seal from Anko and use that as a seal to prevent Orochimaru to corrupt any of their other Genins, mainly the Uchihas and from the clan who hold the jutsu, like Hyugas. And true to his word, Orochimaru appeared in the second part of the Chunin exams, but to his horror, the curse mark disappeared after he went away. His soul was destroyed. He could feel it. He wanted to return, but he was gathered around in a circle by Anbus and the Hokage himself and his sensei and Tsunade-hime. Not only that, well, the clan heads were also there. He was now in a pinch, a big pinch, but something then other happened. One Tails was also on their side as it was in full form as Shikaku was, well, sleeping peacefully. As Naruto was also in full Kyuubi form as Naruto let Kyuubi free from his body as Kyuubi was now standing in front of, well, Orochimaru as Naruto was still engulfed by its chakra. Minor bit was protecting him from any other kind of poisons or any other attacks because he was off guard now. As Orochimaru was downright terrified, two Bijus and such huge powerful shinobis he was done for. And that he was destroyed, decimated into particles. Nothing was left of him. He couldn't return from this. He was dead. As the Chunin exams went on, and Konoha's teams alongside with some of the other teams as in canon passed. And, well, they went as in canon, but Naruto battled against Kiba. Naruto knocked him out with a swift neck chop and ended the match in 1.2 seconds, which was a brand new record, which caused everyone to, well, look at him with wide eyes. Kiba was, well, humiliated, and Tsuzumi was, well, quite surprised by this. She chuckled. Well, he's gonna be sore now for a long time about this defeat. 1.2 seconds, damn, that's a whole new record. And as time went by, the Chunin exams finally came to an end. The second stage, the final stage, will be held after a month as the Hokage announced. For a month, Naruto trained at the Tsunade alongside with Ino, who also trained with their sensei, because Ino passed the test as well, courtesy of Tsunade, and beated Sakura to the pummel, more like pummeling her to the ground, because she was still a fangirl somewhat. And Ino wanted her out of it, because Sasuke was, well, not in love with her, and he found love with another girl, who you might ask, a civilian girl, on Uchiha clan, and he wanted to marry her as well. Naruto was happy for his friend, but was sad that Sakura couldn't see through it, and was still, well, holding on to the crush she had on Sasuke. It was quite not good for her health, and not for Sasuke as well, because it was quite disturbing his life with his girlfriend. Naruto and Ino was not happy with this and started to help her, but she wouldn't listen. That is why Ino beated her to ground, and she was crying now as well. Naruto comforted his girlfriend, who was healing her fallen friend. Both of Sakura's parents were, well, happy for that their daughter lost her crush for Sasuke now. And surprisingly, when Lee confessed to her, she accepted and went on a date with him. He was a nice guy, and Sakura started to develop feelings for him. Even so, time went by and the Chunin exams came to an end. The final battle was between Naruto and Sasuke. Both of them clashed with each other. Sasuke with his interceptal style and his jutsu and chidori, and Naruto with his taijutsu only. He didn't want to use any of his, well, ninjutsu. He had some ninjutsu in his arsenal, but he didn't want to use it because it will cause so much destruction because of his senjutsu chakra roaming around him 24/7. He also didn't want to use his ultimate trump card, the Sage Mode, the Nature Sage Mode, extracting energy for the nature itself, not relying on anything. His Sage Mode was more potent, more strong, more so than the Bijus itself and the Uzumaki clan itself. He didn't turn into stone. He just overflowed and became overpowered. And Sasuke at the end lost. Naruto healed him up completely and even picked him up, showing the sportsmanship and the camaraderie there, as the whole Konoha cheered at this, and even Fugaku had a smile on his face. Naruto earned his respect, and his respect wasn't earned that greatly by anyone. And the Chunin exam ended there. The Oto teams were already arrested and, well, took off. Kabuto Ikushi was also arrested and was now tortured by the INT department. His curse seal was removed alongside the rest of them, and they were enlisted into Konoha Shinobi rosters. And on the other side in Amegakure, well, where Jiraiya and Menma were visiting, both of them were going on with their training. Menma was already strong enough, as he had learned with the help of Toads the Senjutsu chakra and mastered it as well. He was a Toad Sage now, a complete one, not a half one like Jiraiya. Jiraiya also managed to complete his own Toad Sage, because the half one took a toll on his body after using it for some time, but the complete one won't. But it will disappear after half an hour of usage. So both of them were training in their Senjutsu mode and sparring with each other. Both of them were now strong enough to be labeled as S-rank shinobis. However, when they returned, they were about to return from, well, Amegakure. They heard about Akatsuki and what their planning were. Both were now in deep thought. They wanted to return after a year or so, but they knew their return was now necessary because this news had to be delivered back to Konoha at all cost. They even faced Akatsuki or some of its members, and they faced them with quite pride. And after that, they, well, escaped them after, well, somehow managing to avoid them or giving them distractions. As they arrived at the village panting, they entered Konoha Falls. The Akatsuki knew they couldn't go any further because there were many shinobis inside who had more potent chakra than they could imagine. The chakra there was, well, quite strong, as their chakra, well, pools, who were now in half, refilled quickly in under 2 to 3 minutes. They were surprised by this, and they left to their base to tell about this phenomenon to their leader. And the Akatsuki were planning to launch an attack on Konoha because it was the most nature-filled place with chakra as well. It will be a perfect base camp for them. They wanted to capture Konoha before continuing on with their mission to capture Jinchurikis. As then, they made it evident that they will attack Konoha. On the other side inside Konoha, Menma and both Jiraiya explained to them that how things went, as he was happy to meet his family alongside with his brother. And then he finally confessed to Hinata, and she was happy that Menma-kun returned her feelings, and they became girlfriend and boyfriend as well. After that, Naruto went to sleep that night, and when he woke up, he had a mark on his forehead, as his mother's eyes widened and then smiled, because she wasn't able to get the mark for herself as well, even though she trained under Tsunade. As Naruto then saw the mirror, he was happy. His mark was green. Why? Because of nature. Because of his Senjutsu chakra. He had the 100 healing marks. He could now regenerate organs from scratch, for himself and for others. And something happened to Ino as well. As she woke up, she had, well, pink forehead mark on her, yellow forehead mark on her forehead. Both parents were surprised at their daughter forehead mark, and once she channeled chakra through it, the whole markings covered her body. They were blonde markings, as she smashed her fist outside their backyard, destroying it completely, as Inuichi's jaw dropped. His daughter was now a monster. Why? Because she had monster strength. She was the second coming of Tsunade herself. And as for Naruto, he was like a male Tsunade, but he didn't have the anger issues like his daughter. As then Ino rushed towards Naruto's house, As then she saw him that he also had the forehead mark as she kissed him, ignoring his parents and his brother, who had a nosebleed, as his mother's eyes narrowed. And he heard a lecture from his mother then and there, alongside with his girlfriend Hinata, because she was mad at this, why her boyfriend was having a nosebleed. He turns out revealed that he was the next author of the new Icha volume, as Kakashi bowed to him as he created a masterpiece that even Minato read. Why? Because it was just a good story with some smut in it. The story had a good plot. Even the women read it, as Jiraiya was quite grumbling about it that his story was better, but when he saw Menma's cocky smile, he just grumbled and slumped his shoulder. Why? Because he knew Menma's story was good enough, far good enough to be even considered worthy of reading by females, while his was never read by them, only destroyed. Well, in all seriousness, Jiraiya revealed about Akatsuki and their planning, and then they heard sirens go off, as they all rushed towards the entrance and they saw the Akatsuki being there. Before the Akatsuki would launch attack, Naruto and Menma rushed towards them, entering Sage Mode and beating them down to the pummel. They were about to attack. Naruto didn't, know about his power. His one punch broke every bone in the body, in his Senjutsu Chakra mode, in the enemy's, body. Naruto punched 5 of the pain spots, mainly the healing pot and the other animal and rest of the pots, leaving his only pot alone, the Tendo pot, which Naruto destroyed by punching him to the ground as well. As for Konan, she was taken care of by Ino and her monstrous strength alongside with Tsunade and Kushina, while the rest of the Akatsuki were dealt with. Only Tobi remained, whose arms were broken as his mask was removed, which revealed to be Obito, which was quite surprised. As Nagato was captured by Naruto's sensing ability because of his connection to nature where he was, and where the real Konan was as he arrived there, and Nagato threw his center huge nail rod at Naruto, hoping to stab him, but Naruto with his punch shattered the whole rod and appeared behind both of them and knocked them out with his neck chop and slapped the seal of chakra drain and chakra suppression on them and carried them back to Konoha. The whole Akatsuki were alive, but, they were beaten close to the inch of their life. That is how they survived. After being healed and being their chakra sealed, they were sent to blood prison. As Nagato's eyes were replaced by normal ones, his, Rinnegan was also given to him inside a scroll. Why? Because it was his property. Naruto said that they should give him back. Nagato was quite thankful for that, and his, Tendo Pot's body was also delivered to him because Nagato told them it was his friend's body, and he wanted to bury him. He looked towards Jiraiya and apologized that he couldn't, save Yahiko and couldn't follow to his ideals, because now he knew that he made a mistake and his ideals were, fake, because they crumbled so easily. And then Yahiko was buried, courtesy of Jiraiya, where Nagato wanted, inside the training house, where they trained long ago with Jiraiya himself. As after Yahiko's burial, Naruto and Jiraiya returned, alongside Menma. As they returned, they caught up with each other and sparred with each other. Naruto was still stronger than both of them, but they had become, mainly Menma had become, considerably strong, much stronger than he thought, as he was happy for his brother. And once they returned, the whole, village was happy, as Naruto then proposed alongside with Menma and Sasuke to their loved ones. They were now getting married. As it was the night they got married, the moon cracked, bursted open, as Kaguya came flying down on Earth. As almost everyone in the Elemental Nation was alerted, she waited for 10 minutes as she was gathered around by each and every one of the shinobis in the Elemental Nations, and all the Kages, as they looked towards her with surprise. As then Naruto heard whispers, "She's Kaguya, the mother of chakra," as she moved towards Naruto, as she then said, "Why do I feel nature and chakra inside of you, so much potent and pure?" As Naruto's eyes glowed green, he entered his Senjutsu mode, as then a staff appeared made out of wood, His dress changed into silk white clothes and robes, with Tomos in them. Kaguya's eyes widened as she then said, Nature-sama. Yes, Kaguya. My child, you were so pure, but you ate that forbidden fruit and you got corrupted. I have returned once more from my fading, just to save you, as I have promised. As he placed a hand on her forehead, as her third eye closed, and the corrupted soul appeared in black dark chakra, which nature squashed in with his hand, as every one of the shinobi watched with wide eyes. As then, nature then turned towards them all. You all have harmed nature with your war. I am the nature itself, resided with this boy, as I now announce that Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze is my heir to my power and the guardian of nature, the sage of nature. As everyone gasped, as Naruto's returned to his normal self, as nature went away from his body, but his robes were there and his staff was there. The only difference was that his staff changed a bit, as now it held a fire symbol in the staff, presenting that he was from the land of fire, and there was a leaf symbol between it, presenting he was from Konoha. As then each and every one of the shinobi there, even his own soon-to-be wife, bowed, even his parents, all hail, guardian of the nature, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. As Naruto smiled and raised them up, and told them to not harm nature, and to not harm life in general, nor their own. As he was able to convince all of them to put aside their hatred. And then and there Kage decided, alongside their shinobis, backing them up, that they will put aside the war and give this peace a chance. And finally the peace was achieved. Then and there. It was a groundbreaking day, as it was the day of the new age. The age where shinobis will always see each other as comrades. There will be no bloodshed. They will train though, because to fight people like Kaguya who are still corrupted because of chakra fruit, like the Otsutsuki clan. As Kaguya was now saved and was staying in Konoha, she didn't want to leave Naruto's side, and Ino and she combined with each other, making Ino the new mother of all chakra. Ino still had her normal skin tone and her eyes, but she could use Byakugan now. And not only that, her robes were white now, with Tomos in them, and she had a hint of white streaks in her hair, presenting that the Kaguya and she bonded with each other, because Kaguya loved nature, and so did Ino, and both of them agreed to combine with each other and become one. Ino Otsutsuki Yamanaka, and she was married to Naruto. Their children will bore great power, and with great power came great responsibility, as Naruto taught them, as the world was at peace, and they were ready to face Otsutsukis if they ever came. Mainly Naruto and Ino, now that they both of them were immortal. As this is where I'm going to be leaving the story off, guys. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And this is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing out. Peace.